Okay, so this is part 2, and sadly, the last part to this this tractor. As I say that there may be a third one, as I've not got anyone to drive it at the moment because I can't drive and film at the same time. Now, a lot of you will probably be wondering, why on earth is this the last part? It's only part 2, and I filmed every step of the progress on this tractor. We went through the whole engine. We did the back end brakes and had a look at the epicyclic units. We did the front axle. We did everything on this tractor apart from like going into the fuel pumps and oil pumps and stuff like that. And very annoyingly, we had my phone, which has been cracked for a very long time now. We finally made a claim on the insurance, and unexpectedly today the chap turned up to take it away and give me the new one, and although my phone tells me that it keeps backing up to the iCloud, it hadn't, so all footage has been lost. So that's really frustrating, because we had a lot of content that we were going to be uploading. There was going to be about, 10 parts to this series, and we've lost it all, and there's no way of retrieving it. So yeah, I will walk through some of the things that have gone wrong and some of the things that were setbacks in this tractor rebuild, because you won't see it elsewhere. So yeah, so when we started doing the tractor and taking it apart, we found that the cylinder head gasket was blown around the cylinder, the injectors, and not only that, when we pulled the injectors out, they were covered in thick dirty engine oil. So that will probably have had some a negative effect on the engine. As we pulled out the pistons, we thought, oh, they're not too bad, but then we noticed that every single piston, its top compression ring, was cracked in half. So that'd be probably one of the reasons for it is conking out on us, is that it had no compression. So there was a little setback. Not only that, inside the gearbox, there's a cast iron housing for the input shaft, and so if you've ever done one of these tractors before, it's a cylindrical housing that has 4 bolts that goes through a plate on one side, and it's where the input shaft comes in from the clutch and the engine. And that had a hairline crack in it. And as we were putting the engine back onto the gearbox once it was rebuilt, overnight the pilot bearing, it's under tension inside the clutch. And sometimes it will jump a bit and just bedding in essentially. And in doing so, it was making some loud pings, and we believe that was the cause of a bit of a shockwave sent throughout the tractor, and it shattered that cast iron gear housing. So we ended up replacing that. Unfortunately, it wasn't a costly repair, and yeah, it was quite annoying, but hey ho, you got to do what you got to do. So the engine itself has had new cylinder liners, new pistons, new gudgeon pins, new big end bearings and little end bearings. It's had a new head gasket, new valves put in. It's had new filters all round, new lift pump, but we ended up taking the new lift pump off because the old lift pump works perfectly fine, so we've got a spare. It's had a few new rubber hoses in places. It's got new valves, new valve springs. It's got new disc brakes at the back. It's had 2 new disc brakes on either side, new grommets all round, so on the brake actuators and on the front steering arms and on the steering arm here. So it's had a fair bit of new stuff go in. It's had a new handbrake mechanism put in the housing. It's had new rear lights put on. We've wired in the old headlamp, which is nice. It's had new front lights put on with a new harness, so a new electrical harness that goes throughout the tractor. Not only that, we've got a new, wiring loom for the dynamo and the starter motor, and all the gauges on the dash. We've got a new fuel gauge, a new rev gauge, an hour gauge even, and a new water temperature gauge, a new cigarette lighter port, a new switch. We've got a new switch for the rear light. The only thing we're waiting on now is actually the linkage cable that goes from the rev counter to the actual camshaft port there. So we're waiting on that, and we're also waiting on, I need to replicate a pull stop rod, because at the moment we're only turning it on and off by flicking the little on-off valve there. So yeah, there was a setback in rebuilding this. For whatever reason, we timed it up correctly, and I had pictures to prove of it. But I think the tappets must have been significantly out, or they must have self-adjusted when we were trying to turn it over, and we ended up bending some of the rocker arms, and we had to replace them. So that was an unexpected little setback, but that is all timed up now and she runs sweet. And yeah, that's basically it. We did have a slight issue the other night. We just got it finished. We got it finished on Wednesday. It was Thursday evening. We were bringing in the bales, and we used that little trailer there to take 2 round bales. So somebody, because everyone's got to come back when we're doing the bales to offload them. So you have somebody on a tractor bringing back 2, even though it's 2. You know, it's not a wasted journey then. And in doing so, we were driving it fine. Everything was good. We stopped it and we went to do the little bales with the Land Rover and trailer, and came back to start and it had no drive. And what it is inside the back end transmission, there's a splined collar that goes over one of the shafts that drives the back axle and diff, and that spline shaft had a split pin in. And apparently, if you don't put it in quite right, or if it goes in but it's a bit forceful to going in, it will split the split pin and it will slide back once driving. And once that shaft, that collar had slid back, it means that we didn't have any high or low range. So we had to, in the field, take that off. That little plate there for the PTO cover, the PTO gauge mechanism. You engage the PTO by pulling that lever. You had to take that off and take this foot, what would you call it? Footrest, guard, whatever you want to call it, off. And inside there was the little spline shaft, which needed its collar sliding back on and a new pin in it. So yeah, we found some interesting little things about this tractor. Turns out my boss actually filled the wheels 90% full with water, and that made it for a very interesting removal and replacement when we were putting them back on. And I think that's to do with balancing out when we was doing topping. So I don't know why I'd do it, but hey ho. It's a new one on me, that. I've never heard of it before. We're waiting on 2 new link arms, as the old ones were broken. We've got a new steering wheel. The old one had to be cut off because it was so seized on the spline shaft. And most importantly, we've got a new seat cover. So yeah, everything runs sweet on it. It starts up nicely, and what I'll do actually is we'll just start it up for you. See if I can't get the keys out. There we go. So we'll just give her a go. Oh, she's in gear. Oh, come on. Hang on. Let's sit on it. There we go. Fuel's on. There we have it. She runs. All the lights work. Put it to some revs. Just flip that one. Got a little dash light. Can't see it, but those lights are now working. She runs nice and she drives nice. She's a hell of a lot more nippy now. And yeah, it's going to be fun using her. But I'm just devastated that we lost that footage, because it was going to be a really good little series that we made up there. There's a few little bloopers as well, so it was going to be quite funny. But hey ho, you live and learn. Make sure you've always got your documents and videos backed up, or else they'll play havoc on you later. And yeah, this is a little learning lesson, but hey ho. There might actually be another tractor engine rebuild coming up soon. It depends on whether we actually end up getting it, but there's talks of us actually getting a Fullerton Major with loader coming in soon, so we might be able to do that. And if so, I will make damn sure that I actually do back up everything because it is pissed me off right a lot. But anyway, that's it for now. There'll probably be a part 3 because we're going to take it out for a little road run, or a little drive, or we'll do some jobs with it. And we're going to get the link arms back on, and we need to get a new reg plate. So there's a couple of little bits to show you, but that's basically it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry to disappoint anyone, and I'll see you in the next.